Hello everyone, I am Julia Little, and here I have today for you the news. And to start off the news, we have a brief talk from President Jimmy Carter to start off your day for you folks.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Carter and I'm the 39th President of the United States of America. A little background about myself. I was born on October 6, 1924 in Plains, Georgia. I grew up on a peanut farm and my family was very devoted to the Baptist faith. I graduated from the Naval Academy of Annapolis, Maryland in 1946. I then met the love of my life and married Roseanne Smith, my wife. Together we have 3 sons, Jack, Chip, and Jeff. I served as a naval officer for 7 years and in 1962 entered state politics. 8 years later, I became the governor of Georgia. I started a 2-year campaign for president in December 1974 and was nominated on the first ballot. My running mate was Senator Walter F. Mondale of Minnesota, and we campaigned hard against recent President Ford. I won by 56 electoral votes. I was running hard to fight the economic woes of inflation and unemployment. I claimed to an increase of 8 million jobs and a decrease in the budget deficit. I mean, inflation and interest rates were sort of at a high and we kind of fell into a short recession, but let's not worry about that. I also have a number of achievements in domestic affairs. I dealt with the energy shortage by establishing a national energy policy and controlling domestic petroleum prices to stimulate production. I used civil service reform and went with deregulation of the trucking and airlining businesses. I wanted to improve the environment and expand national parks. I created the Department of Education, bolstered the security system, and appointed a record number of women, blacks, and Hispanics to government positions. I set my own style in foreign affairs. Through the Camp David Agreement of 1978, I helped bring peace between Egypt and Israel. I had some serious setbacks, like when the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan caused the suspension of plans for the SALT II Pact. There will certainly be many more, but for now, I am your loving president and will do anything and everything in my power to make the United States of America the best country in the world. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Wow, wasn't that interesting? Now, we found a video from President Ford's inauguration, which it's never before seen, and we're going to play that now for everyone. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm President Ford, President Gerald R. Ford, and I know you are all devastated in the recent news of the resigning of our former president, President Nixon. I'm here to reassess the trust in the government to these recent scandals. We have not anything or nothing to fear from our past. I am excited and eager to tackle the problems at hand with this beloved country. Before we speak of any actions I take in the near future, there's an elephant in the room I must discuss. And that is, I am very aware that nobody is happy with the pardoning of our recent president, President Nixon. As Vice President, for those who don't know, it is in my power to be able to assess these actions during the Watergate scandal and decide whether or not he may be pardoned or trialed for his crimes. I believed he has been punished enough for what he has done, and I felt he has learned his lesson. But I am not a man who wishes to dwell in the past, so I do forgive him. We must forget about this incident and help with this economic nightmare currently happening. To begin, I would like to whip inflation. As I was oathed in the presidency, the inflation and unemployment went from bad to worse. A massive problem is the increasing prices of oil and gasoline that OPEC is placing. I call all of you American citizens to whip inflation now, or win, as some would call it. Even the acronym is promising. This action calls for Americans to cut back on their oil and gasoline consumption while taking other energy-saving measures. If this were to come up short, though, I also have a new policy coming into play called the tight money policy. This policy cuts down on government spending and encourages the Federal Reserve Board to restrict credit through high interest rates. Although my future for America is bright, I still need the full cooperation of all of you. Aside from our beautiful nation, I believe firmly in our foreign policies as well. I plan to sign a Helsinki Accord, which is a series of agreements that promise greater cooperation between the nations of Eastern and Western Europe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.
Our next story takes us across the Atlantic Ocean into the country of Iran. It seems as if the crisis in Iran continues to escalate as the year goes on. Earlier this year, many Iranians had become unhappy with the corrupted and dictatorial regime of Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, who had ruled since September of 1941. They disliked his strong policies of modernization and secularization, and he often came into conflict with the merchant and elite classes. However, as some of you at home might remember, a revolution broke out in January of this year, 1979, causing him to flee the country. Muslim leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini led the revolution and helped the rebels overthrow the old government. Under his rule, the rebels established a religious state based on strict obedience to the Quran, the sacred book of Islam. Following the revolution, Khomeini declared himself the country's supreme leader, a position created in the Constitution of the Islamic Republic as the highest-ranking political and religious authority of the nation. More recently, President Carter allowed the Shah to enter our country in October to receive lymphatic cancer treatment, which infuriated the Iranian rebels. This past week, on November 4th, armed students belonging to the Muslim student followers of Imam's Line seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 52 Americans hostage. They are demanding that we send Pahlavi back in order to release the hostages, but as of now, President Carter is declining. We are conducting quiet and intense efforts to free the hostages, but no success has occurred yet. We can only hope that our fellow Americans are released and can return home soon.
Hello. Do you need personal information fast? Do you need to get money quick? Do you want to get re-elected for the presidential campaign? Well, look no further. With Nixon's wiretapping services, we've got the solution for you. Need that personal information? It's no problem. Need to get money? Not a hassle. We can win that re-election for you. Here's some of our great testimonies.
Here at Watergate Facilities, we can tell you firsthand about how great Nixon's services are. We had no idea that there were spies in our offices right under our noses. Because of what a great job Nixon's teams did, he's either going out for re-election or getting impeached. But either way, he's going out with a bang.
Buy Nixon's wiretapping services for only $9.99 per day for the first month. Then it goes up to $12.99 per day. Free trials accepted but not recommended.
In the 1970s, Jimmy Carter and Richard Nixon confronted such environmental issues as conservation, pollution, and the growth of nuclear energy. On April 22, 1970, nearly every community in the nation celebrated the first Earth Day. People like Nixon made an effort to do our part in making our peace with nature, and in 1970, 15 existing federal pollution programs made their way into the Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA. The new agency was given the power to set and enforce pollution standards, to conduct environmental research, and to assist state and local governments in pollution control. Today, the EPA remains the federal government's main instrument for dealing with environmental issues. Things like the 3 Mile Island was a scare because the reactor overheated. This isn't funny, people. This isn't funny. The reactor overheated and people freaked out. And this was on 3 Mile Island. I can't remember if I said that already, but it was there. And everything turned out to be fine, but it opened the eyes of Americans everywhere because we needed to get this stuff figured out. Today I bring you another fascinating interview in the field of environmental issues. This is a major problem that many people fail to recognize that is going on. Many people tend to see environmental issues as a sort of sickness, as if it doesn't affect you until you're coughing firsthand. Let's talk to our very special guest, Lewis Gibbs. Hi, Lewis Gibbs, you look awesome.
Hey. What's up?
Doesn't she look great?
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you again for having me on this show. It really is such an honor to talk about something I feel so strong about. Many people are not aware of the issues about all the potential damage and that our lifestyle and family life can do to the environment. It can destroy a family life.
Well, let's
Is-
jump
is-
right.
Is something funny? This is a serious topic.
You're right. Let's jump right in it, shall we? All right, Lewis. I've heard that you and your family moved to Niagara Falls in New York. And that's where you first got started about caring for the environment. Would you like to expand on this topic?
Yeah, what I didn't know that beneath my quiet town was a disaster in the making. In the 1990s, the 1890s, my bad, I'm just thinking into the future. The Love Canal had been built to provide hydroelectric power to Niagara Falls area. Chemical companies were dumping hazardous waste, just dumping it straight into the canal. In 1953, bulldozers just filled the canal. Shortly thereafter, a school and rows of homes were just built nearby, as if nothing was there.
Wow, what a discovery.
In 1977, my son fell sick and I decided to investigate. I uncovered the existence of the town, waste, and mobilized the community, and demanded the government action in 1980. President Carter authorized funds to many Niagara Falls families to move to safety.
Toxic waste is disgusting. I heard you wrote a book.
Yes. It's called The Love Canal. My story.
Oh. Will you read an excerpt for us?
Of course. I just happen to have it right here. This is from a page 69. I want to tell you a story, my very own story, because I believe that ordinary citizens using the tools of dignity, self-respect, and common sense and perseverance can influence solutions to fight long and hard and sometimes at great personal cost. Sorry, I just very attached to this excerpt. In solving any difficult problem, you have to be prepared to fight long and hard, sometimes at great personal cost, but it has to be done. It must be done if we are to survive at all.
What do you hope that people learn from your discovery? And
I just really want people to realize that the natural resources are limited, and what we have, that's all we got. I mean, we just take the environment for granted as if it just replenishes itself on its own. I want America to focus on environment and finding new forms of energy.
I would completely agree with that statement. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. Have a wonderful day.
300.
100. You're gonna hear first, ladies and gentlemen. The widespread realization that pollution and overconsumption were damaging the environment began in the 1960s. One book in particular had awakened environmental activism. And here to talk about her book today is the one and only Rachel Carson.
Hello everybody.
Hi.
Hi, hello, my book is titled Silent Spring, and here it is here. Here we go.
Silent Spring.
Yes, and within 6 months sold nearly 500,000 copies. I caution that America faced a silent spring, as seen in the title of the book, in which birds killed off by pesticides would no longer fill the air with song. I added that all of the weapons used in man's war against nature, pesticides were the most harmful.
Wow. How did your work affect the nation?
Well, the nation slowly began to focus more on environmental issues. My work helped many Americans realize that their everyday behavior, as well as the nation's industrial growth, had damaging effect on the environment.
Wow. What a book. What a lady. What an interview.
Thank you. You can pick it up at bookstores near you.
And
Only
we're done.
$29.99.
I think
okay.
it's over.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you for
interview.
yeah.
That's all for now. Wasn't that a great news episode? I think it was. We brought to you some great information today, folks. Please tune back in tomorrow for Meatless Mondays. Have a blast.